Have you considered that the old version of you is trying to sabotage your evolution? Everybody has a 2.0 version of themselves that they envision, that they dream of, almost fantasize about. But the thing that holds you back is your old self who doesn't want to die. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. I'm going to take you through Old Town here in Kotor, Montenegro, and we're going to have a deep discussion. So make sure that you have notebook and pen ready. Let's go. I have many clients who tell me that they've passed up on opportunities in the workplace where they could have given a presentation or even taken a new role, received a promotion. And afterwards, they're kicking themselves for it and they're not sure why they did that. This sort of self-sabotage happens because it is so unfamiliar that your subconscious mind is afraid. Therefore, it keeps you stuck as the old version of yourself. So, what I want to discuss with you guys today is how to actually break free from that and how to evolve to that next version of yourself that you know is possible. In fact, I go as far as to say that if you look back 6 months ago, 1 year ago, 5 years ago, and that version of yourself is recognizable, then you have work to do, my friend. I will get so disappointed with myself if I look back and I realize, I haven't changed much. I haven't evolved. This is both mentally and emotionally. It's also financially, spiritually, socially. If you're not evolving, you're essentially regressing. There's no such thing as remaining stagnant. If you're not moving forward, you're regressing. That's just the way that it is. And this is going to have a very detrimental impact on your relationships and your professional opportunities. The reason for that is because it stifles you. Now, I'm going to try to speak a little bit quieter because this is a public cafe and there are people walking around. But the reason why you end up being stifled, is because there is stiff energy throughout your body that is essentially trapped. And that keeps you feeling nervous. That keeps you not making the right decisions for yourself, not feeling witty, not feeling spontaneous, not feeling sharp. In fact, it's the kind of thing that used to hold me back from creating content in public like this. Because if people would walk past, for example, I would lose my train of thought. But after years of training myself to become unstifled, and this is what we teach our clients, by the way, you can book a call with us for private coaching in the description. When you become unstifled, that allows your brain to have the space and energy to be witty, to be sharp, to be spontaneous, to be charismatic. What is charisma at the end of the day? Charisma is that ideal version of yourself that comes to light. It comes alive when you get out of your own way, when you stop self-sabotaging. That's what charisma is. And I want to teach you in this video how to switch on that charisma whenever you want to, whenever you need it, because it is like a superpower. Growing up as a socially awkward introvert myself, I remember even going to weddings of family and friends and feeling so nervous and awkward, being stuck in my head, not being able to connect with even my own family and friends. And I remember when I started to learn how to unstifle myself with pretty much a click of a finger, I could turn it on. Right now, all day, I've been sitting down, reading, chilling. In fact, I woke up late, so it's Saturday. I'm chilling with my wife here in Old Town. I don't know if you can hear that cruise ship in the background. And I was in my introverted mode. But the moment I put the camera down, even though there's people walking around, I switch it on because I know now how to do it. And the way you do it is by unstifling yourself, by allowing yourself to express, allow your voice to resonate, allow your voice to bounce off the wall, etc. Go ahead. It's okay. No worries. No worries. That way, you're not getting in your own way. You're getting out of your own way, if anything. That's what you want to do. That is how you be unstifled. I will share some more about this shortly. Catch you soon. So now we know why self-sabotage happens. It's your old self trying to survive. Let's talk about how to actually overcome it. What I want you to do is, first of all, get clear about what that ideal version of yourself looks like. How does he breathe? How does he walk? How does he talk? What does he do for work? How much money does he make? What does he look like physically? How does he dress? Everything. Just get very, very clear about the ideal version of yourself. Now, I want you to lean into the frustrations, the triggers, the fears that you feel as you go about your journey. For example, let's say you want to, just as an example, let's say you want to be more vocal and express yourself more confidently in group settings. Next time you're in a meeting and you know you want to speak up, you know you should speak up, but you feel that resistance, that dreaded anxiety that comes up, that nervousness, my advice to you is lean into it, because that fear, that anxiety is your reality rearranging itself. That'll disappear over time as well, by the way. But lean into it. Get into the habit of leaning into the discomfort, the anxiety, because we've all heard it before. Growth happens outside of your comfort zone. Yet, as a communication coach in the personal development space, I gotta tell you, not many people step out of their comfort zones. It's become a buzzword, comfort zone, in the personal development space, but how often do people genuinely step out of their comfort zones? So speak up a little bit louder in that meeting. If you want to create content for your business, for example, make it. Record something in public like this. In the beginning, when I used to do it, it felt very uncomfortable because people would walk past and look at me. It would feel very strange. But now I have become immune to it, because that version of myself, that old version of myself, has died. And now, the current version of myself, this is its reality. It's completely normal. It's been normalized. You want to normalize the abnormal. The next version of Shaka Lockman will be comfortable with things that I'm currently uncomfortable with, for example. This includes everyday scenarios. It includes your financial situation. It includes your networking, your relationships. Everything will evolve. So, when you do this, when you're leaning into your discomfort, what you'll notice happens is it might be a little bit challenging to remain consistent with that frame of, I am being very proactive and conscious about the type of life that I want, the type of person I want to be. And you might see contradictory evidence. For example, your bank account might not reflect the vision of yourself that you're tapping into, or your social circle may not reflect that. If you can remain consistent to that version of yourself and continue leaning into the discomfort despite contradictory evidence, that is what gives you power. That is what will allow you to step into the 2.0 version of yourself. If you don't, you're just going to stay the same year after year. The interesting thing is, and this is very promising, this should give you a lot of confidence. The interesting thing is, very rarely do people actually go after what they want. Therefore, the competition is very small at the top. The reason why the rich get richer, the reason why the people in the 1% seem to have better luck than most people, is simply because there's less competition at the top. Take communication skills as an example. I see this so often as a communication coach. When you have above average, even slightly above average communication skills, you stand out wherever you go. It is so easy to stand out from the crowd when you have just above average communication skills. It's the same thing in business, in any profession. If you put in a little bit more effort than everybody else, immediately you stand out. Now let's talk about another roadblock that people typically encounter when they're stepping into that version of themselves. That is being stifled. This is something that I go into detail with our clients. Stifled energy is basically energy within your physiology, which impacts your mind, that stops you from expressing openly and authentically. For example, if somebody's very stifled while public speaking, or perhaps recording a video in public, I might be very closed off. My breathing will be shallow, my body language will be closed, and that is going to impact my mind. When you're stifled, it is near impossible to be sharp, spontaneous, witty, charismatic. To be charismatic, that means to be unstifled. To get unstifled, you want to breathe deep. We're getting practical here. You want to breathe deep. We're going to have open body language, and you want to have an open mind as well. Your awareness, I'm talking about being aware of the present moment. For example, you're watching this video, notice the colors behind me, notice the color of my skin, of my shirt, the sound of my voice. You're being deeply present. Expand your awareness outwards. This is one of the easiest ways to unstifle yourself. It's by opening your physiology and your awareness. Because when you're stifled, that keeps you in that old version of yourself. In order to break free, you have to open up the energetic pathways within your body. I know it gets a little bit spiritual, a little bit woo, but that's the reality. So, lean into the discomfort, unstifle yourself, and you will learn how to switch on the charisma whenever you need it. I hope you enjoyed this. Like, comment if so. And if you want to work with us, you can book a call with us for free in the description below. I'll see you guys next week.